In this video, I will take you through a suggested study sequence for your FRM Part 2 preparations. Before we begin, a quick note. For the year 2024, we are looking at 103 prescribed readings, which are spread over 6 sections, and I'm assuming that you have with you around 16 weeks for a first go, or let's say your first consumption of these 103 readings. Okay? Now, you can begin your FRM Part 2 preparations by first picking Book 1. This book has 16 readings in it, and a comfortable pace for covering this book would involve covering 5 to 6 readings every week. That means this book can be completed in 3 weeks. You can follow this book up with Book 5, the book on investment management. This book has 11 readings in it, and again, the pace of covering 5 to 6 readings every week would make sure that you can cover this book in 2 weeks. The reason why we have scheduled these 2 books first in our sequence is because, number one, the readings in these 2 books, they tend to be very conceptual in nature. To a large extent, these readings are also quantitative in nature. And also, these readings are very relatable because they leverage a lot on what you've learned in FRM Part 1. Okay, so while your knowledge of FRM Part 1 is still fresh, it's best to apply this knowledge on these 2 books. The second reason is that these books, cumulatively speaking, have around a quarter of the total number of prescribed readings. But the exam weight of these 2 books combined is a healthy 35%. 20% for market risk, 15% for investment management. Therefore, purely from an exam standpoint also, these books need to be dealt with first. Okay, when you have ample time with you to spend on each of these readings and understanding each of these readings inside out. Okay, the next book that you should pick up is Book 2. Okay, the book on credit risk. This book has been revamped in 2024. This book previously had 18 readings in it. Now it has 23 readings. There are 12 new readings which have been added. And this book, please note, is 75% conceptual / quantitative and 25% descriptive / qualitative. Okay? Now, in this book, please understand there are quite a few chapters which do require time and effort. Okay? There are chapters which can be consumed well enough only if you adopt a slow enough pace. Okay? Therefore, this book cannot be rushed through. Okay, this book needs its own time, but even if this book has 23 readings in it, this book can still be completed in 3 weeks. The reason is that readings in this book, they do have some amount of overlap between them, and also there are readings in this book which have a good overlap with what you've studied in FRM Part 1. Okay, so this book, 23 readings, is still doable in 3 weeks. Okay. Next comes Book 4, the book on liquidity and treasury risk. This book has 19 readings in it, and I would say it's a 50-50 here. 50% conceptual and 50% qualitative / descriptive. This book can be completed in 3 weeks. Next would be the fattest, the broadest book in FRM Part 2, and that's the Operational Risk and Resilience book. This book has 24 readings in it, and a good 75% of these readings are very qualitative, very descriptive, and very dense in nature. Okay? It's best that you schedule this book as close to your exam date as possible, so that you're able to retain as much as possible of what you've studied from this book. If you have been following this study sequence religiously till this point in time, you will have a good 4 weeks with you to consume this book, which means you'll be required to do 6 readings every week. Okay? Then for the last week in this study plan, which spans 16 weeks, you'll be focusing on current issues. In 2024, you have 10 readings in current issues. These readings are not really chapters taken from books, but rather these are journal papers. Okay. Now, if you were to, let's say, only focus on summaries or notes for these 10 readings, which have been provided to you by your preparation provider, these 10 readings can be done within 1 week. Okay. This was a suggested study sequence for your FRM Part 2 preparations. If you want the sequence of readings which go in each of these books, then there is a detailed study plan whose link is given in the description below. Okay?